Hi folks, it's Marvin Music with MedicareSchool.com, and we want to welcome you to our event tonight. We are excited to have you join with us. I know we have people that are coming in from all over the country. So want to welcome you and then also let you know that I'm going to cover for a few minutes a topic that is really, really important for everyone to understand. And then after that, I will begin to field questions. So if you would like to start putting your questions in the chat, we will get to them, to as many as we possibly can. I usually wear out after about an hour and a half, and so up until that time, I'm usually ready to go. So anything you want to ask about Medicare or Social Security, I am open for that. I just want to give you a heads up. Some of you have been asking, Marvin, what do you think is going to happen with Medicare in the future? So let me just answer that now. I do not know. We're all excited to see what is going to happen, if there's going to be any major changes, but it's just too early to tell. And so please, I just really don't have any answers for that. So if I knew, I would tell you. But you're kind of in the same position I am. We're going to have to wait until the administration gets everything lined up, and then we'll see and then make adjustments if we have to. All right, so that's that. Also want to clarify that if you have a question, don't make it so summarized where I cannot understand what you're wanting to find out. Okay, I know you're trying to expedite it, but sometimes it's a little bit too short and I cannot track with you. So I want to make sure your question is clear enough for me to be able to answer and to provide help in that regard. Okay, so those are kind of the rules. Two more things. Number one, if you are not yet a member of our Facebook community, we would love for you to be a part of that. Certainly no cost to do that, so just join. 50,000 strong right now, a lot of Medicare experts within, and then others that are experts because of their experience they've had, and they share a lot that has happened in their journey on Medicare. So we'd love to have you be a part of that, exchange ideas and maybe some issues, problems that you've had, so others do not have to repeat that problem. And then secondly, we do have a YouTube channel. I think now we're about the most watched YouTube channel in the Medicare space. We're grateful for that and not boasting, just saying that is a reality right now. So thank you for those of you that continue to subscribe, tell others about us. It really is a great place to learn, and so I hope you'll continue to use that. I shot a new video today. I try to do 2 a week. Sometimes it's only one, but we have some other wonderful content contributors within our company that also do video work, and so you can learn from them as well. So we count it a privilege to be a part of your life in that way. So be a part of that. You can subscribe to our channel, and then you're notified every time we do a new video of that new content. Okay, so enough of that. Let's get into tonight's topic. And that is, if your Medigap rate increases are getting out of hand, what do you need to do about that? And so I want to address Medigap increases, just give you some general knowledge, and then I'll share with you some possibilities moving forward. So first off, know that in every state, there is usually just one type of a Medigap policy that's available in most states. There are a few states where there could be multiple options, but the norm is there is a type of policy in each of the states that all the insurance companies are offering. And this has to do with the way the prices and the price increases work and how the initial rates are established. Okay, so there are three of them. Number one, there are insurance policies, Medigap policies, that are called attained age. Attained age. Attained age is the norm. That's the kind of the default mode for Medigap policies. An attained age policy is a policy that the initial premium, it will be based upon the age that you are when that policy is written. So if you're 65, you got a price. It's a different price if you come in and get it at 68. And then what happens on attained age policies is every year at the anniversary of the policy, you are going to be a year older. And so you've attained another age. You move from 65 to 66 or 70 to 71, and you've attained another age, so you're a year older. And because of that age increase, you're going to see a fairly small increase, but it will increase just because of age. You've attained another age, and you're going to see a price increase. Now, initially, attained age policies are the lowest premium policies available, and usually substantially lower, because the state gives the insurance carrier the right to raise that price a little bit every year because you're a year older. And when I say every year, that part of the increase is normally on average, about $50 a year. So you take 50 divided by 12, that's going to be about a $4 increase because of age. Now, I'm not saying that's the only way it's going to go up, but that's going to happen for sure on attained age policies. It's the only policy that ever raises because of age. The second kind of policy is called an issue age policy. And again, like attained age, your initial premium is based upon the age you are when the policy is issued, when you take it out. If you're 72, you pay more than a 67-year-old would. Initial premium based upon the age at issue. And again, those also can go up after that, but not because of age increases. Issue age is only a group increase. Now, the third one is called community-rated policies. Community-rated means everybody in that particular area, that could be a state, it could be a county, it could be a zip code, whatever the insurance company decides will be the geographical location, everybody that is in that area that gets that plan, whether it's an F, a G, or an N plan, is going to pay the same price regardless of age, regardless of gender. Everyone pays the same price. That's called community-rated. And so there are a few states that require that. I think there's maybe 8 of them or so. Most of those are going to be in the northeast area of our country. So again, attained age, issue age, community rated. And so on an issue age policy, again, it's based upon your age when you take out the policy. And the only way an issue age can go up is if there's a group increase. Community, everyone pays the same price. And the way they increase is everyone goes up that's in the group, okay? Now, with attained age, the initial increase is every year at our birthday, or anniversary, we're a year older, we see a slight increase, but they also can take group increases. And what I'm trying to communicate to you is that all of them go up. Issue age, attained age, community, they all go up based upon group increases. Attained age also goes up every year because of birthday. Again, that's a slight one, but again, they start the lowest. Community is the highest. Issue age in between, attained age is going to be the lowest. So how then do group increases occur in all 3 of those pricing methods? Happens this way. When you buy a Medicare supplemental plan, you're placed into a group. And that's a group of people that have bought a Medigap policy in your area, usually within about a year or 2-year period of time. And so you're in this group, and everyone in the group is paying their monthly premiums, and therefore the company has to pay money out of the group because of claims. You've transferred liability to that company. You pay them a premium to take the liability, so they have to pay money out and cover hospital bills, and they have to cover 20% co-insurance and excess charges, and they're covering all these expenses. So money goes in the group and money goes out of the group. And so what happens with a group increase with all types of pricing methods is when more money is going out in claims than is coming in through premiums, that means your group is losing money. Okay, money goes in, money goes out. So once more money goes out in claims than premiums coming in, that company has the right to go to the state insurance commissioner and petition for a rate increase to cover that loss. So maybe they're losing 10% or 7% or 4%. They're going to ask for a rate increase to cover that loss. And the insurance commissioner almost always approves it, but again, that's kind of a check and balance system. Insurance company request an increase, insurance commissioner must approve that. So when you see a group increase, insurance commissioner is very well aware of that, and they've approved that because the insurance company proved that more was going out in claims than was coming in premiums. Okay, so it's going to happen in all pricing methods. So again, attained age goes up every year because of birth date, starts off the lowest, but it also can have group increases. Issue age is going to be kind of medium price point. It can't go up because of age, but it can still go up and will go up because, again, group increases. Community starts off the highest because everyone gets the same price, whether it's 65 or 85. And again, they eventually will lose money as well, and so those price increases will go up. So the question is, what can you do about it? Well, if you happen to be on an F plan, what I would do is look at the possibility of moving to either a G plan or an N plan. Your G plan is going to be the next best thing as far as comprehensive coverage is concerned. F covers all gaps. G covers 5 of 6 gaps. So if you move from F to G, you're going to lower your premium substantially, well enough to cover the one gap that G will not cover is the Medicare B deductible. F covers it, G does not. but it's only $257 for the whole year. So as long as we can save $25 a month or more, and you will, moving F to G, then that's a good move. Now, you could also go to an N plan. N plan covers 4 of the 6 gaps, covers all gaps but the B deductible, and does not cover excess charges, that extra 15% that doctors can add. And so N will not cover that excess. Now, the good news is excess is really rare, so there's not a whole lot of risk in that. There's some, but not a whole lot. And then with the N plan, you do have to pay up to a $20 copay. Anytime you see a primary care doctor or a specialist, any provider you see, you pay a $20 copay, but it's very reasonable. And so if we go all the way down to an N, we still have a wonderful coverage, but we're going to save more money on that plan. Usually, most states, the difference between G and N is somewhere around $40 a month. It could be more, it could be a little less. But the point is that $40 is $480 for the year you saved, and you took on the minimal risk of excess, and you have a couple copays. So if you don't go to the doctor often, you probably came out net ahead on that. So again, F, you can move to a G or to an N. If you happen to be on a G plan and you are getting a price increase you're uncomfortable with, then seriously think about moving to an N plan. You still get all the benefits, whether it's F, G, or N, of still go to any provider that takes Medicare. That's awesome. No networks. You still have no pre-authorizations by the insurance company, and you still have a permanent policy that can never be canceled on you unless you don't pay the premium. So you don't have to hassle with the issues of changing every year like you do with Advantage, or dealing with copays and max out of pockets like you do on Advantage, and definitely don't have to deal with any pre-authorizations at all like you do on Advantage. All right, and so you still get the beauty of the benefits of all the supplemental plans, but again, you can move. Now, in most states, to make the move, you're going to have to medically qualify. It doesn't mean you have to be ready to run a marathon, but you're going to have to be halfway healthy for us to make that move. So that's what you can do about it. Now, worst case scenario, if you just can no longer afford those premiums, then you can always move to an Advantage plan. And I would tell you that I would rather be on an Advantage plan than have A and B only. I think the best is A and B with supplemental plans, just because of the use and the permanency, and there's a lot of benefits to that. But if you cannot afford it, then you can move to Advantage plan. Now, keep this in mind. To move from a supplemental plan to Advantage plan, you can only do that once a year. And that date is later this year, October 15th to December 7th. So if you're on a supplemental plan now and want to move to Advantage, you can't do it yet. But you can beginning October 15th to December 7th, and that new Advantage plan would kick in effective January 1. So again, you're going to be out several months before you can do it, but again, that's something that would be an option for you. Now, what are you doing when you take that on? You're taking on the responsibility of copays, co-insurance, and also max out of pocket. Because even though Advantage plans do not usually raise their premium, they do go up. They go up by higher copays. They go up by higher max out of pockets. And they also go up by maybe one year they cover a service at a $10 copay, and next year you pay 20% coinsurance. So those also go up. They just don't go up typically in premium. They go up in the way they structure your copays and coinsurance. All right? So everything goes up simply because of medical inflation. That's just a reality. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. Now listen, what you can do, if you want to know if moving your supplemental plan F to G or G to N, whatever, is something you're interested in, we have a wonderful website that you can go to. And it's really, you can check all this out on your own. And we're happy to talk to you and to facilitate this, but you can see on the screen, it's called Medigap Compare. And it's awesome technology. We own this. And so you can go on this site and you actually can look at all the different options of plans in your market. You can go through the health questions. Really, I mean, it really truly is self-serve. Very, very user-friendly. A wonderful site. We spent lots of money in tech getting this together for our clients because we want to make it possible for you to be able to check all this on your own without any interference. You just want to think it through. This is a great place to go. No cost to use the service whatsoever. Medigapcompare.com. So you use that. All righty. So hopefully this helps. If you have further questions that I didn't address about this topic, feel free to put that into the chat. Daniel, our producer, is with me in our studio. I'm in Overland Park, Kansas right now. It's freezing outside. We're in the teens here. Just been terribly cold, but it's warm inside, and I am excited to be able to help you answer your questions. So Daniel, I am ready when you are, sir. All right, Judy, when I move to another state, will my rate change? Possibly. Here's the way it works. your carrier has the right to do a rate adjustment up or down when you move to another state. So if rates are higher in that state, then you're probably going to see some kind of a slight increase. If they're lower, I've seen them go down as well. So they can never cancel the policy because of relocation, but they do have the right to do a rate adjustment depending upon what the status is in the state that you move to. Same policy, can't do that. Same coverage, can't change that. But yes, the premium could alter. All right. Hey, Marvin, I just recommended your company to a couple that have a huge problem with their Medicare, Medicaid that needs to be handled by a professional. I hope you guys can help them. Well, we probably can. When we have someone that's eligible for Medicare and Medicaid, we call that dual eligible for both systems. And so we do write the dual eligible plan. So hopefully we can. I know we'll try our best to do everything we can possible to give them some great assistance. And thanks for the referral. All right, Wolf 2, I was told your Social Security would go up for retirement age amount once you get to that age if you started a year or so early. Is that true? Absolutely not. I don't know who told you that. I'm sorry you got that bad information. But once you decide to take your Social Security, if you take it early, you took a reduction, and that's a permanent reduction for life. The only way it can go up now is if we have a cost of living adjustment. And those will occur, of course, from time to time based upon inflation. But whoever told you that just simply did not know what they're talking about. Okay, it's a permanent reduction. All right, Daniel. Okay, how to think about Medicare if I have 100% VA disability rating? Well, I would tell you this. If you are happy with the VA system, I probably would not get a Medicare supplemental plan. I wouldn't. I love Medicare supplemental plans, okay? But if in that situation where you have 100% covered by the VA and you're happy with the VA system, that's probably where you're going to get the majority of your care. So you really have two options. Well, really three. You could do A only and not do B and do everything through the VA. But the problem with A only and not B is eventually if you change your mind down the road and you want to get Medicare B, you'll be penalized for not getting it when you're first eligible. So that's a problem. So I'm not telling you to do that, but it is an option, do A only and then the VA. There's risk with that because you may want B at a later date. You can pick it up, but again, you'll be penalized when you do, and you can only enroll into B at a later date of one quarter of the year, first quarter of the year. So that's problematic. The second option you have is to do A and B. And then what I would do in that A and B and go in and enroll in a B, you got to pay your premium, of course. But then what I would do with that A and B, that gives you eligibility to get what is called a Medicare Advantage only plan, MA only. And the reason a lot of veterans will do this is because they would like to have a civilian option that they have the control over. If you just use the VA, that's where you're going, no matter what. And I know they'll let you go other places, but again, they're still part of that. So if you truly want a civilian option that you're in control of, you can enroll in A and B, which qualifies you to get a Medicare Advantage only plan. Now, here's why some vets are doing that. Because when you get an MA only plan, you're still going to get your meds through the VA system. And because of that, that Medicare Advantage plan actually will give you a credit towards your Part B premium. Sometimes it's $100 a month. I've seen even higher than that. So that $185 is reduced down to maybe $85 or even less. And so you keep getting your meds to the VA, and now we have this MA-only plan, and now we have hearing aids. We have a gym membership option. We have different benefits that come along with the Medicare Advantage that are available to you, and now you have a civilian option. So if you're unhappy with something going on in the VA, now you can go to just a normal hospital as long as they're going to be in the network. That's called an MA-only plan. We write those plans. And if you don't like it down the road, you can always disenroll and just go back to just having VA by itself. So those are your options. And I like MA-only plans. So I would take A and B and do an MA-only plan. Use the VA when you want, and you have a civilian option if you want that as well. All right, let's keep going. Okay, hi, Stephanie from North Carolina. Does Medicare cover home health care? Well, what they do cover is home health care after like at an inpatient surgery or an outpatient surgery. So that's home health care for rehab. They will cover that for sure. Now, when it comes to other types of home health care, when someone just needs some custodial care as a general rule, that's not going to be covered by Medicare. Medicaid may cover that, but Medicare covers things that are medically necessary. So you have let's say a knee replacement. You're going to go home afterwards, and there's going to be rehab involved, and that home health care agency that's providing the rehab, that will be covered by Medicare. Okay, so anything medically necessary, rehab included, home health care bills would be paid by Medicare for sure. All right, let's keep going, Daniel. Hi, Marvin. Do doctors tend to not want to take you if you have A and B without a supplemental plan? In other words, they really want to have a sup so they know they would pay the last 20%. I will tell you, William, I have not experienced that, where someone said they had A and B only and then had a problem getting a doctor's service. I have not. And probably the reason for that, William, is because this is something that very rarely people do. Only 10% of the Medicare population has A and B only. 90% do not. The other 90% are going to either have a supplemental plan or they're going to have an Advantage plan. So it doesn't come up often because there's not that large of a segment of the population that does A and B only. Probably the biggest segment of the population that has A and B only would be those that are on Medicaid, because then the state Medicaid is going to come in and kind of be treated like a supplemental plan. It's not a supplemental plan, but it pays second to Medicare. So again, I would not do A and B only. Maybe for the reason you mentioned, I just don't have experience with, that issue. I've never had someone, in that position where a doctor said, no, we're not going to do it because you don't have additional insurance. Okay. I would say it's a possibility, but I don't have experience in that area. Let's keep going. Alrighty, I just turned 68. I haven't turned Social Security yet. I was trying to hold out until age 70. However, just laid off from my full-time job and benefits. Am I a fool to wait until 70 to begin collecting Social Security? Well, I wouldn't say it's foolish, Jay. You can grow your account another 16%. You're 68, so if you go to 70, you grew it by 16%. Now, here's the reality. In order for you to really benefit from delaying to age 70, you are going to have to live to be in the mid-80s to upper 80s. So if you have longevity in your family, your dad or mom lived to be 95 or 100 or whatever, and you're real healthy, and you don't need the money right now, then I don't think it's foolish to wait until age 70. A second reason that some people will wait is if they're married and their spouse does not have much Social Security of their own. What happens is if you go to age 70 and then pass away after that, the survivor benefit, the widow or widower benefit, will be 100% of what you were taking or you were eligible for when you passed away. So there is a benefit that maybe you don't live to break even long enough to benefit from it, but if you have a younger spouse that doesn't have much Social Security of their own, they may benefit from that. So would I say you're crazy? No, I wouldn't say that. Now, if you're single and you have some health problems or whatever, I'd probably go ahead and take. So it really boils down to life expectancy and then other dependents, such as a widow or widower benefit. What kind of benefit would they get increased because you waited to age 70? So not crazy, but those are the kind of things you got to think through as you make that decision. All right, let's keep going. Alrighty, I'm signed up for the Part A and B starting for 2025. When do I need to sign up for a Medigap plan? Really, any time now. You actually can sign up for Medigap policies anywhere from 3 to 6 months prior to when your Medicare starts, that window. Some states will allow up to 6 months in advance for SUPs. Some allow 3. Now, the reason people do in advance is because then they're able to lock that rate in usually for 12 months. And so you're in the time frame where you can do it. It's fine. Now, if someone doesn't do it by their birth date, they still have the eligibility for another 6 months, including their birth month, to still get a Medigap policy with no underwriting required. That's called a Medigap OEP. So you can do it 3 to 6 months in advance. Once B starts, you still have another 6-month window in every state to get that SUP. No underwriting required. They have to cover your pre-existing conditions, and they have to approve your policy. All right. Okay, turning 65 in November. How and when do I appeal IRMA for 2026 but not 2025? Okay, here's the way it works. As far as IRMAs for 2026, they're going to look back at your 2024 return. And so what will happen is later this year, around November range, you will receive a letter from the government saying what your Part B premium will be for 2026. Once you have that letter in hand, and again, it'll be towards the end of November, December range, then you can appeal. You can't appeal in advance of getting the notice, because if you try to appeal in advance, you're not even in the system of owing an IRMA yet. So you've got to let the IRS and Medicare do their work towards the end of the year, get the notice, and then you can file the appeal. Now also, your life-changing event, whether that's work stoppage or work reduction or death, divorce, all that, that also has had to occur. Okay, you can't project that I'm going to retire and you tell them I'm going to retire in 3 months. They're not going to approve your appeal in advance. The life-changing event has to be in the past. Now, that past could be 1 week or it can be up to 2 years. But the point is that you have to know for sure that the life-changing event has occurred, then you can appeal. So wait till the letter and make sure your life-changing event has also occurred. All right, hope that helps. Let's keep going. Okay, does RPHC always raise rates twice a year? As a general rule, yes, but let me explain how that works. What happens in most states, you're getting an increase because of age. And even if you're in a community issue age where they don't raise because of age, the way United Healthcare works, our policies is when you first come in, let's say at 65, you get a 39% discount, 39%. And then now next year, you're a year older, and now they're going to remove 3% of that discount every year up until, 82 or something like that. But you're losing that enrollment discount 3% a year. So it looks like you're getting a price increase, which it did go up for sure, but it's just because you've lost that enrollment discount. Now, the second way they can raise their rates is if they do a group increase. Remember, I talked about that if you're part of my opening. Group increases happen when more claims go out than premium coming in, then they're going to raise the rates because of that. So that's why it appears that there are 2 rate increases. One, you're losing the enrollment discount. Number 2, if that group is losing money, then you can get a group increase as well. All right. I would say they're still one of the most stable companies, though, in the country. And there's a couple others that are really, really stable as well, but I would put them in a category of being a rate-stable company for sure. Okay, when they petition a state insurance commission rate increase, are there independent watchdog groups that monitor the process? Well, I don't know that. I really do not know that. Could be. I would assume that they have to make an official filing for a rate increase, and so that could trigger watchdog groups to oversee that and to make sure things are done properly. But I do not know that firsthand. Sorry about that. All right, next. Okay, a pitfall of reaching retirement is that earning power is often peaking, so income is high. A price increase of sorts is the effect IRMAA has. Can you suggest some strategies to minimize this impact? Let me tell you, and I'm not trying to be in any way sarcastic, okay? But I will tell you that if someone has an IRMAA, that is a great problem to have, okay? It is. And so if you're married filing a joint return, that means you're making above $212,000. If you're married filing a single filing a joint return, you're making above $106,000. So it's a great thing to have that income coming in. So once we retire and then our income, semi-retire or fully retire, and our income is now adjusted down, they make provision for that. So that's how you minimize the impact is if you have an IRMAA and after that IRMAA charge has been assessed, you semi-retire or retire, then I would take the time to appeal the IRMAA to tell them stop looking back 2 years. I retired a year ago or I just retired this year, and they will take those new numbers and they will either drop the IRMAA completely or allow you to move down a few IRMAA levels. So that's what I would do, appeal the IRMAAs for sure. Otherwise, I would just soon have the few $100,000 and take the IRMAA. I mean, the first level of IRMAA is only like $87 for the whole month. So again, I think IRMAAs, I know it's a nuisance and you're probably annoyed by it, but having an IRMAA is a great problem to have because it means you have high income. All right, let's keep going. All right, I got dinged with IRMAA for 2025, so I appealed due to retirement in December and won. How will the excess paid for January, February be refunded? Okay, so here's the way that happens. So what you're saying is you already paid IRMAA a couple months, so you will get your money back. But that may take a little while. So what I would do if I were you is I would call your local Social Security office and say, I had to pay IRMAA a couple of months, got approved after I appealed, and ask them what needs to be done to get those IRMA charges back. I suspect they're going to tell you it'll just happen automatically. I don't think there's paperwork you can file or nothing, but at least you can call in to double check the process, and then you can always check in a couple months later because they'll record the fact that you called to find out, and if you don't get it back in a couple months, call again and say, hey, I'm still waiting on my IRMA refund. Where is it? And so I would just be proactive until you see that money coming back to you. All right, do supplemental plans G pick up the cost of Medicare inpatient deductible? Oh, yes. Yeah. In fact, any plan I'd recommend is going to cover all of the A gaps. And the A gaps includes what you're saying is the inpatient deductible. That's called the Medicare A deductible, and that's $1,676 this year. It's not annual; it's a multiple times on the hospital deductible. It can be charged a couple times during the year. So your G plan will definitely cover that, and the N plan will cover that as well. It also covers extended hospital copays. It also will cover your skilled nursing facility copays after 20 days, and so they'll cover all that for you. So everything is covered on the A side of Medicare by the F, by the G, and by the N plan. All right, I have a UPS United Parcel. I have their insurance for $300 a month, full benefits. My wife, she's 51. Once I'm on Medicare, my insurance is up to $200. I will sign up for A and B, but I will have RX UPS. Okay, and so should be good. Oh, is that good? So let me just read it one more time. So UPS, $300 a month. Now, if you were $300 a month and you were single, I wouldn't like that. But because your wife is younger, covered by that's a very good deal. So I like that. The other thing I'd like to know on your UPS, is that secondary to Medicare, or is that an Advantage plan that they're going to make you go on? Daniel, am I interpreting this question right?
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
Okay, because you talk about drug UPS. And so I'm assuming you must have some medical coverage as well. So if you have some medical coverage included in that pays second to Medicare, then I think you're in a good position for sure. Plus, I love the fact that your wife's part of that, and she's 14 years away from Medicare. So you should be fine on that for sure. I wouldn't drop the plan at all. Okay, let's keep going. Here we go. If I get an N plan and have to have surgery, if you ask before the surgery, will you find out if a doctor is treating you during the surgery, will not charge? Yes. Actually, the rules are they have to disclose to you that they're a non-participating physician, surgeon. They have to disclose that to you. And I'm thinking you have to sign something being aware that they are going to charge excess. And if that's not signed by you, then they're not able to charge excess. So that's the way you can protect yourself. Ask, and again, most don't charge excess anyways, but if it does happen, and it does happen some, but if it does, they will disclose that to you in advance. If not, you're not liable to pay for it. Alrighty. When I first selected a Medigap insurance provider, my advisor somehow assessed the historical stability of the rate increases of the different providers. How did she do that assessment? Well, here's how. All of us, who've been in the business for a while, know how to get to some data that's available to us from actuaries that have the rate history of the companies that do report, and most report, not all, but most. And so we look back 10 years at a report to see what type of increases have occurred during that period of time, how many times they've occurred, and the percentages. So we're able to kind of gauge how stable a company is based upon looking back. I don't think that's available to consumers at all. Maybe it is, I'm not sure, but we definitely look at that kind of information. So they didn't, as long as they're truthful and have ethics, then I think if they provided that for you and told you about that, then I'm sure they were being honest about that. And none of us have a crystal ball for the future. We don't know. We don't know the health condition of the group. We don't know always necessarily the size of the group. So there's still a little bit of subjectiveness, even in our opinion, when we share, hey, we think this company's stable. We mean it, but we still cannot control what's going to happen in the future because of medical inflation. Okay, let's keep going. Can you explain the Illinois rule on changing Medicare providers without underwriting? How can you change from a G to a G without changing companies? Okay, well, what happens is that's possible if you've been on a plan for a few years and you've seen some rate increases, then if their new business that they're offering people would be at a lower price point, then that's the way that happens. And I know the way Illinois works. You can do this from age 65 to 75, but you have to stay with the same carrier. Louisiana is the same way. Utah soon is going to be the same way as well. And so, but that's the way it would work. In other words, you would call in and say, what is my rate now? Let's do it this way. Let's say you start at 65 and now you're 70. You've had price increases because of your group. But that group is now smaller and is closed out. So you can call back in and say, if I were new to Medicare and I am now 70 years old, what would be my price point? And so if it's lower, then you can move during that birthday rule period of time to get the lower rate. So it is possible. I'm not saying it's going to be substantially less, but it could happen. That's the rules. Yeah, Illinois, that's a very unique state in that way as well. So most of them allow you to change like to like or like to less. So I can move from a G to a G or G to an N, and I can change carriers as well. But Illinois does not allow that. All right, let's keep it up. Okay, Dante from Connecticut. I plan M with Cigna. I have seen my doctors and have not had any copays. And don't have excess fees in Connecticut. It's like I have a G plan. Is that a normal thing? Well, here's what happens. They definitely have the right to bill you for a $20 copay, because what happens on that end plan is you're responsible for the deductible. That's the $257, and then they take that claim and they send it back to your provider. And it's less $20 than what Medicare would have paid them. Medicare would have said, okay, here's what we're going to pay you, minus $20. So the provider is supposed to bill you for that $20. So if they don't want to, so be it. I would not count on that being, happening every single time because that's not the way the system really works. But that is, that provider has chosen not to bill that additional amount. They took what Medicare would pay, less than $20, and wrote it off, accepted its payment in full. All right, do I have to wait till open enrollment to change my dental insurance? No. All dental insurance plans are, we call ancillary. They're totally separate from Medicare. So you can change those plans really anytime that you want to, not tied to open enrollment. Now, some plans, when you sign up for a year, so you may be bound to a time frame like that, but they have nothing at all to do with open enrollment period. All right, I have Medicaid now, and we switch automatically to Medicare. Okay, so Rhonda, what you want to do is you want to find out if once you're Medicare eligible, will you retain the same Medicaid eligibility? You need to find that out. Sometimes people have to reapply. Sometimes it just automatically renews, and they also have Medicaid. And if that's the case for you, you have Medicare, Medicaid, we call you a dual eligible. And then there are some special advantage plans designed for people that are dual eligible. And frankly, they're pretty decent plans. So that's something I'd be checking into. Those are called Medicare dual SNP plans. Dual meaning dual eligible, special need plans. And so we write those. So give us a call. Our number's right there. We're happy to walk you through this process, and we can check Medicaid eligibility at the same time as well. Okay? So let us know. We'll help you. All right, my union negotiated Medicare Advantage plan has a MOOP of only $1,100 annually. That's good. PPO plan, I can go to any doctors nationwide that accepts Aetna insurance and still be a network-wide change. Okay, well, you don't have to. And that's a fine plan for sure. Those plans are called waiver plans. Those are not available to the average person on the market. That was just something that your union negotiated. It must be a fairly sizable union, and Aetna wanted that business, so they put together a waiver plan. And so again, I think Aetna probably has a decent network. You're still not going to be able to go just anywhere you want to. If you had a Medicare supplemental plan, but I like the fact that you have a max out-of-pocket of $1,100. So if I were you, I'd probably stay on that plan. I would. All righty. What stage 3 kidney disease would I be able to pass underwriting? The answer to that is no. Now remember, Charlotte, you don't have to pass underwriting if you're within 6 months of your Medicare B date at all. So you wouldn't have to worry if you're beyond 6 months of your B date, unless you're in New York, Connecticut, or Vermont. Then you're going to have to go through underwriting, and with stage 3 kidney disease, you will definitely not be able to pass. You won't. Okay. Now keep this in mind, Charlotte. There are some states that are called birthday rule states. Birthday rule states where you can change Medigap policies. Can't get a new one, but if you're already on one, you can switch. And those states are California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, state of Nevada, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Maryland, Kentucky. There's a couple new ones, Utah soon. So if you live in a birthday rule state and you already own a Medicare supplemental plan, you can usually move like to like or like to less, F to F, G to G, G to N. And so if you live in one of those states, then you can do it without underwriting around your birth date. Some are 30 days before birthday, some are 30 days after, some are 60 days after. There's a variety of rules, but that would also be a possibility. Okay? All right, if I am to be 65 in December 25 and I have employment insurance through the end of January 26, why would I just apply for A and B together in December, where January started up in February? Okay, and you could, but let me tell you, and Dennis, what I would do if I were you. I would go ahead 3 months in advance. I would enroll into Medicare A only. So you're turning 65 in December. So let's back up the clock: November, October, September. So anytime between September and November, you can enroll into A only. So if you do it online, then or have us do it, we'll help you through this whole process. But you would enroll into A only, and then in order to have your insurance to start in February, your Part B, then you would submit a document that's called the CMS 40B. CMS 40B, and you would submit that during the month of January to have an effective date of February. That's the only way you can do it. But I would do A only. That way in your system, in the system, you'll have a Medicare card issued. Then you'll add B with that one very simple form. You take it to the local Social Security office, but you must submit it in January for a February 1 start date. And then you won't waste any money whatsoever. So that's the way I'd handle that. And listen, we can do that for you, all of that for you. You have to make the trip to the Social Security office, but all the paperwork, we can advise you through that because you can make all your decisions in advance so that B starts February 1 and your Medicare supplemental plan starts at the same time. All righty. How do you pay the Medicare deductible? I met the deductible last year and never paid anything other than my Plan G premium. Okay, well, again, what happened is the deductible is $257. So a claim goes into Medicare, and Medicare is not going to pay the deductible. They'll pay the claim less the deductible. So what happened is they took that deductible amount and they sent it then to your insurance company. Insurance company's not going to pay the deductible either. And so then they took that deductible amount and they sent it back to the providers saying you need to bill your patient because they're responsible for the deductible. And so it could be that provider, that doctor, specialist, or hospital, whoever, they just didn't bill you for it. That's all. You owed it, but if they chose not to bill it, so be it. And I've heard that happen. In fact, we've already had one case like that already with somebody else, on the call tonight. Okay, so that's what happened. You definitely owed it. They just chose not to bill you. All right, can I at 65 refrain from signing up for Medicare A and B as long as I'm gainfully employed with a company insurance over 20 employees? Absolutely. You can. You do not have to do anything with Medicare A or B. But let me say this, Paul, if you don't have an HSA, a health savings account that you're contributing to, get enrolled in A only. There's no cost for A as long as you have 40 quarters of Medicare taxes. Get A only because then you're in your system. Plus, Medicare takes the second payer position, but if you have co-insurance responsibility during a hospitalization, Medicare A could pay some of that for you. So I would do A only unless I am still contributing to an HSA, health savings account. If you're contributing to HSA, Paul, do nothing. Don't do A, don't do B. Okay, that'd be a good move. But otherwise, I like A only, just not with HSAs. All right, keep going. If I'm on Medicare and get a job that offers insurance, will I lose my Medicare if I sign up for their insurance? No, you will not lose it automatically. Now, if you're on Medicare and get a job that has good coverage and the group is 20 or more, what I would do if it's good insurance is I would drop everything but A only. Keep A, you have to anyways. Drop the B, drop the supplemental plan, drop the drug plan if you have a good group plan at work. Now, what you also can do, we have this happen a lot, if you are reemployed and you are offered benefits, you may say to them, hey, I have my own Medicare. And sometimes the company will say, okay, well, we'll just give you $400 extra a month since we don't have to pay for your insurance, or we'll give you $500 extra a month. I've seen that negotiated before. But again, if they're not going to do that and the insurance is good and you like the price and all that, go ahead and drop everything but A only, and then once you decide to retire, then you can pick up B and all the other insurance at a later date. Okay. I'm a customer, have an in plan. My housemate, instead of nurse instructor, her to only get A and B. The reason was that if you don't have a sup, then Medicare will cover all charges. Well, Susan, that's just not true. I mean, whoever said that does not know what they're talking about. In fact, A and B only is a poor decision. And the reason for that is because all the gaps you're responsible for. Medicare is going to pay, but Medicare doesn't cover anything 100% other than preventive services. So if a person is A and B only, all the gaps, 3 on the A and 3 on the B side, they pay out of the pocket. And Susan, another reason, a stat I'll give you that I know that was bad advice is because of this. Right now in our country, we have $220 billion of medical debt. $220 billion medical debt, meaning unpaid hospital bills, unpaid doctor bills, surgeon bills, all that. And the second largest holder of that medical debt would be people that are eligible for Medicare. Well, why is there so much debt? Because they had A and B only, and they couldn't cover the 20% co-insurance. They couldn't cover the deductible at the hospital, and now they're being turned over to collection agencies to pay those bills. So A and B by itself, bad idea. And whoever said that does not know what they're talking about. Let's keep going. All right, do the blocks go by state or are all the G plans nationwide in one block? How does one find the largest block per state? Okay, the blocks are definitely by state because each state's insurance commissioner has to approve of that original block that company is offering to people within the state. So it's definitely by state. For sure. Now, what I would do as far as size of the block, if you go with a nationwide carrier, one that has a good market share, then you'll know you're in a large block. And by the way, we know that stuff. I can't talk about that right now. This is more of an educational event, and I got to be careful about that kind of information. Okay, Medicare, they know that I'm an educator, so I've got to kind of keep within the boundaries of rules. So, and really, I don't even know where you live, but wherever you live, I guarantee you we can tell you exactly who dominates that market for sure, which means it'd be a large block, probably going to be very rate stable over the long haul. All right, let's keep going. If you look in Medigap rate 6 months before retirement, lock it in, can the rate decrease? Would I get the decreased rate? And the answer to that would be no. And the likelihood of that going down in that period of time is like next to nothing. I've never seen that happen. And again, some carriers, if they accept it 3 months in advance, then that's typically what they're going to do is they're going to lock that in. Now, just so you know, okay, that is the norm. But a carrier could still, if they chose to raise the rate during that time, they could do that. I have seen that happen. But the norm is when you do in advance, that rate is going to be locked in for the next 12 months of the policy effective date. But again, I can't say across the board you're guaranteed that, but that is usually the way it works. All right, if I have FEHB insurance, should I get Medigap with Part A and B? I would not. Now, with one exception. For those of you that are watching, FEHB stands for Federal Employee Health Benefits. So this is insurance that's available to people that are retired civil service. And so what happens is if you had A and B with a Medigap policy, to me, you're overinsured. So what you can do is you can do A and B and then use your FEHB benefits, whether that's Blue Cross or GEHA, whoever you have, as second to Medicare. Or what you can do, if your premium, if it costs you, let's say it's $300 a month for you to be on that FEHB benefits, I wouldn't keep that. I would just go ahead and get a normal G or N plan, come out of the FEHB system. There's paperwork that we have to do that. So my point is, if the regular market has a better value than your FEHB, then you can get out of FEHB, have A and B and get a supplemental plan, G or an N. Lots of people do that. But if your FEHB premiums are reasonable, and sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not, but if they're reasonable and you like that, and maybe you have a spouse covered by the plan, then again, you're fine with A and B with FEHB as second to Medicare. All right. I got hit with Irma due to sale of a property. Can I appeal that because it is a one-time windfall? No, you can't. There's only 8 reasons you can appeal an Irma. death, divorce, marriage, work stoppage, work reduction, loss of income producing property, employment settlement payment, employment settlement agreement that goes belly up, or a pension that goes belly up. There's only 8 reasons, and you can find this on the form called SS 44. Okay, it has nothing to do with sell the property. Now, when you look on that form, one of them is loss of income producing property. It doesn't mean you owned it and sold it and took a loss. It means it's gone. It burned in the California fire. It went down a mudslide. It's gone. It went in a flood. So you've lost it. You had it 2 years ago. Now it's gone. Okay, so that's the property issue. Now, here's the thing I want to talk to you about, though, Lori. When we sell a personal residence, it is possible to have an exclusion. Single people have an exclusion up to $250,000. Married people have an exclusion up to $500,000. Now, again, you've had to have occupied that property for 2 years of the last 5. You had to own it 2 of the last 5. So there's some rules for that exclusion. But just because you sold it like now, if it's an investment property, sure. But if it was a residence, then you're going to be exempt. You're going to have that exclusion amount. And so if you're below those amounts, it should not affect your Part B premium. Now, if you're above that, or if it's an investment property, that's a whole different story. But to answer your question, you can't appeal because of that. There's only 8 reasons. That's not one of them. All righty. On high deductible G, are your Medicare premium payments applied to the deductible? And the answer is no, not at all. No. I think this year the high deductible, I want to say it's $2,800 or $2,900. I'm sorry, we rarely write those plans. But no, the way it works is you pay your premium to the insurance company, and you're responsible then for that $2,800 before the plan pays anything. That's why you've got to reduce premium. That's a high deductible G. And by the way, Barbara, I'm not saying that's a bad decision. The only thing I would caution you with is this. I know you save some premium dollars by going with a high G, but I also hope you realize that 99% of the time, not all, but usually, in order to get off the high G and go to a standard G or to a standard N, you have to medically qualify to make that move. So if your health were to change and you had to go through underwriting, then you may never get off of that high G. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but that's just a caution. Okay, let's keep going. All right, I used to be a teacher, didn't retire, but moved what money I had in TRS to qualified IRA. When I started taking my Social Security at 70, I was told by Social Security I had to pay the whole windfall penalty that I didn't get back. Oh, you mean because of the new law? Okay, no. No, I know the windfall elimination provision, government pension offset, that has passed, the Social Security Fairness Act. But the only thing they're going to do is they are going to retroactive your reduction for all of 24. Okay, so that would be a possibility there. But all that they reduced it for prior to basically December 23, you're not going to get a refund on that. Okay, so that's the way it works. Yeah, people are going to get checks, but I don't think they've settled on exactly how they're going to implement it, but they are going to make it retroactive. So you will receive some of it, not all though. All right, let's keep going. Okay, is there a discount for veterans with F plan? Not that I'm aware of. I've never seen any kind of a discount on F plan. For veterans, we do see them for people that are married or have a significant other. Those are called household discounts, multi-policy discounts. Never that I've seen one for a veteran. Okay, I'm turning 65 this August, have emphysema, COPD, paralyzed diaphragm, none will get better. Will I get a special needs plan? Well, if you go with an Advantage, then there could be, depending on where you are, there could be a special needs plan designed specifically for people that have respiratory issues. I have seen those. Now, the norm would be diabetes, heart problems, but there could be some COPD, emphysema, lung type special needs plans. But remember, those are going to be Advantage plans. And so if you have to get an Advantage plan, then I would, that'd be great. Those are called chronic special needs plans, chronic special needs plans. The thing I'd say to you is this: if you can afford it, you ought to get a supplemental plan so you don't have to worry about it. You'll get a G plan and you'll pay a B deductible once a year. So as long as you can afford the premium for your supplemental plan, then that's what I would do, because they cannot deny you your first 6 months of your B date. So you have 3 to 6 months before August to start the plan, and then 6 months after that, you're still in that open enrollment window where there's no underwriting. So I would take advantage of that. So don't do a special needs plan unless you can't afford that G or N plan. So that's what I would do, G or N first, and then special needs after that if you have to do an Advantage. All right, let's keep going. I'm considering retiring soon. What states are the best, lowest for Medicare supplemental plans, at least historically? Okay, well, lowest are going to be states in the South, for sure. Your East and West Coast states, definitely not the lowest. Midwest is pretty good. Yeah, that's it. So when you get the farther northeast, they're higher. A lot of that's because they're community rated, and cost of living is higher. So it's just higher. So South and Midwest. There we go. Hey, that was good. Dan, let's go back to that. You put up the Medigap compare. There's a great place to look at that. I didn't think about that. But go to Medigap compare, put in your zip code. You got to put your age in, and that's about it. And then they'll show you all the plans in those areas. So put in a couple different states. Move around on that website. It's wonderful, wonderful technology. Take advantage of it. All right. Here we go. Does my copay under Medicare Plan N go towards my Part B deductible? And the answer is no, it doesn't. So what's going to happen when you go to the doctor, the first, doctor could be a variety of things, but anything on the B side, that first $257 is not going to be covered by Medicare. And it's not going to be covered by your Plan N. So they're going to take the balance of that $257. Whatever that is, it could be, a couple doctor visits or lab work. It could be $257 in MRI, and that $257 deductible is going to be kicked back to the provider that's going to bill you. And then after that deductible is met, your co-sharing is a $20 copay every time you see a doctor. So that's the way it works. So those copays do not apply to the deductible. The deductible is going to be paid first, and then those copays after that. $257 is paid. All right, my retired spouse turned 65 in September, and his county health coverage requires starting Medicare, and they become GAP. What should we ask? Okay, here's what you want to ask. First off, and I'm not trying to be, kind of technical, but what they are in this position, they are secondary to Medicare. So you have Medigap policies, which are called Medicare supplemental policies. They're filling in the gaps that Medicare didn't cover. Usually these county type plans, they're secondary to Medicare. They kind of like a gap, but they're not usually given a letter. That's the difference. And so the questions you should ask would be this. What does it cost you out of your pocket to be covered by the plan? And then what are they going to pay? Do you still have some copays or some out-of-pocket responsibilities, or are they going to pay everything for you? So I would want to know what's it cost me to be on that plan, and what will my out-of-pocket expenses be beyond just a premium. And then I would take that information, I would compare that to just standard Medicare plans. Sometimes these secondary to Medicare plans are good, and sometimes they're mediocre or lousy, and sometimes they're very expensive. So don't assume just because they put that package together, it's going to be attractive. Know for sure. Call us, and we can go through all that with you just to find out and make a comparison whether you should keep the county plan or not. Alrighty, I'm hitting 65 next year and going to retire overseas. How can I avoid Medicare premium payment? I wouldn't need Medicare. Okay, well, let me say this first. I'm definitely not an expert in this particular aspect. I do know something about this, and that's this. In the country that you go to, if you are provided some type of a public insurance, and then you decide and you buy that and you have that and you can prove you have that, and then you come back to the U.S., I think then they will allow you to pick up Medicare without any penalties or problems, as long as you proved that you had some type of insurance that was, a public plan outside the country. I think you can do that. Now, what I still would do if I were you, and you're probably going to take Social Security, so to go ahead and take your Medicare A only and then not take the Medicare B. Again, but I'd want you to have some kind of insurance overseas, or knowing for sure you're never coming back to the U.S. That's how I'd handle that. All right. turn 65 in November. If I sign up to start in November, do I have to sign up again for Medicare for 2026? No. Once you have signed up for your Medicare A and B, as long as you pay your Part B premiums, it is a lifetime policy. You don't have to renew A and B ever. Just pay your premium, and it automatically renews. All right, can you go from an N plan to a G plan at a later date, or is it only G to N? Okay, well, in most states, when you move during the birthday rule, it is G to G or G to N. We call it like to like or like to less. Okay, that's most states that have a birthday rule. Now, those people that are not in a birthday rule state, you can move from an N to a G, no problem, but that would require underwriting. All right? In fact, but just the state that I'm standing in right now, Kansas, we are in Overland Park, Kansas. That's our home office. It's a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri. So the way it works in Missouri is people can move during their anniversary of their policy G to G, no underwriting, but they can't go G to N. In the state of Kansas, you can make none of those moves. You have to always medically qualify to move your policy in the state of Kansas, whether it's G to N or N to G. Medical underwriting is involved with that. Okay, so again, it varies state to state as to what you can do. Okay, I'm on Medicare A and B. United Health Supplement. Can I get insurance for my wife through my Medicare program or not? Okay, well, if your wife is 65 and has 40 quarters of her own, then she can go on Medicare, and then she can get a Medicare supplemental plan with United Healthcare. I think that's who you must be referencing here. And then the two of you would get what's called a multi-policy discount. But if she's not yet 65, there's going to be no Medicare coverage unless she's on disability. That changes things. But if not, she has to wait to age 65. But basically, folks, the way you look at this is that Medicare plans are pretty individual. But when you get Medigap policies, these Med Sup plans, G or Ns, then if both of you are with the same company, you get multi-policy discounts and household discounts. Okay, and that's a way you can get your premiums reduced anywhere from 5 to 10% on a monthly basis. But they're still individual plans. All righty, is there a G plan that will cover me in 2 states? I'm in Minnesota for 8 months and Alabama for 4. Hey, all G plans are going to cover you in that situation. So the way it works is in Minnesota, where you are 8 months, you'd actually get a Medigap policy there. Minnesota is what's called a waiver state. So they definitely offer plans. They're not going to call them or G or an N. They're going to have equivalent, though, G or N plans. So we write a lot of business in Minnesota. We can help you there for sure. Calling in will help you. But your policy is a Minnesota policy, but it has nationwide coverage. So anywhere you go, you're in Alabama, you have a problem, just pull out your A and B card and your supplemental card, and you have the same coverage in Alabama that you do in Minnesota. All right, if I have a great G plan, but rates keep going up every year, if I switch to plan A with the same company, do I need to go through underwriting? As a general rule, yes. Yes, you do. I'm not saying that you can't do that depending on where you live. If your state has a birthday rule state, you can switch to an N with no underwriting. But if you don't live in a birthday rule state, then to make that switch, you do have to go through underwriting. Retiring in 40 days, how soon do I choose a plan? Can I add a gap plan later anytime? Okay, here's the way it works, Gary. If it were me, I would like to take advantage of a very unique rule called the Medigap OEP, open enrollment period. And that is specifically tied to the B date of your Medicare. Not A date, but B date. Now, sometimes A and B date are the same. But the point is we have this window where we can apply for a Medigap policy, no underwriting required, 3 to 6 months before our B starts. Then after that, I have 6 more months of my B date where I still don't have to medically qualify to get any Medigap policy that's sold in my state, any company, any plan. And there's no underwriting required. So if you say, can you get it later any time? Well, if you wait after 6 months of your B date, yes, you can, as long as you're healthy and medically qualify. But if you have health problems, the answer to your question is no, you can't, because you can't add a Medigap policy just because you want to. You can get it if you go through underwriting, but without underwriting, you have 6 months of your B date to get that policy, plus or minus of your B date. Okay, Daniel. All right. When I tried enrolling into Medicare, it wouldn't go through. Social Security said it would send me an activation code, good, in the mail, and then I can go back online, try again. Do you know why I need a code to enroll? Well, because there was something wrong with your login credentials with the myssa.gov account. Something happened. Either you tried multiple times with the wrong password, something did not match up. And so they won't let you keep trying and trying. They send you this code so you can reset your password. That's the whole purpose of that. Okay, and so you're not going to be able to get into your applications for Medicare or Social Security unless you have proper credentials to get in that system. That's for your protection. So if you don't have those credentials, you lost them, forgot them, or they're messed up in some fashion, that's what they're doing, allowing you the opportunity to reset everything. Okay, what percentage of doctors take Medicare? Well, statistically, now by the way, this stat has to do with non-pediatric doctors. Non-pediatric doctors. A lot of pediatricians don't take Medicare. Clearly, they don't need to. But non-pediatric doctors, 99% of them will take Medicare. 100% of all hospitals do. 99% of non-pediatric doctors will as well. And so there's only 1% that don't. And that is primarily doctors that are concierge doctors or those that are in the psychiatric field because Medicare doesn't cover that real well. They do, but it's not as strongly. And so some doctors just say, I'm not going to take Medicare because I don't like what they pay. But again, that would be more in the psychiatric field or concierge services. Hey, Daniel, would you do me a favor? Would you hand me that stool? I'm dying. Please. Sorry about that. I've been standing all day working and I'm dying. Thank you very much. Okay, I have to sit. Okay, next question. Thank you very much. All right, I got married again back in November. My new wife is still working, and now on her insurance, should I stop Medicare, or are they issues I should be aware of if I do? Okay, James, here's the number one key. You're on Medicare, and you're past 65. So as long as there's no gaps in your coverage from 65 forward, that means either you had to be on Medicare or you're covered by an employer-provided plan. That's the key. So as long as there have been no gaps in your coverage since 65, Medicare or a work plan, you're fine. So I'm assuming that now you've never had a gap yet, and so when you transition onto your wife's insurance, it is fine. Just be sure, again, if I get off Medicare, let's say, March 31st, then I want to make sure that the group plan kicks in April 1 and you stay on that until she retires. And then, of course, then you can come back into Medicare with no problems. So should I stop Medicare? Here's my view. If it's costing her on her group plan, let's say $250 or more to cover you, then I would stay on Medicare, okay? Unless you're real high income. If you don't have IRMAs, if it costs her more than $250 a month to cover you, then in my opinion, Medicare is a better value. But if she's spending $100 a month on you, $150, and it's a good plan, low deductible, you like the coverage, then what I would do is I would go ahead and drop Medicare Part B. It's fine to do that. The form that we use to do that is a form 1763. And on that form, they're going to call B, they'll either call it medical or they'll call it supplement. So just know that's the terminology, and you can drop it. And they're going to want to know why, and just say you're married now, and your wife has great insurance. And so they'll drop off the B, they'll send you back a new card that says Medicare A only, and then you can pick up B at a later date as long as we have no gaps in coverage, either by Medicare or by employer-provided plan. So it's fine to do that. The good thing is also you're going to save your Part B premium. So again, it all really boils down to finances, whether it makes sense or not. But it's fine to do it. That 1763 form, very simple to fill out, and then you would submit that to your local Social Security office and drop B, and you specify in the comment section why you're doing it, and then you'll tell them when you want to drop it. All right, I'm ready. Okay, the premiums on supplemental plans paid annually, quarterly, or monthly. Well, really all the above. Now, I will tell you that most people pay monthly, and they do so through a bank draft, ACH or an EFT. Quarterly payments are possible, but here's the problem with quarterly payments. most of the insurance companies want you to do monthly, so if you pay quarterly, they normally charge you more. They'll send you a bill every 3 months, but they charge you more for that. So I hate that, but that's the way it works. Now, annually is also an option, and some companies may give you a slight discount for that. Some would just simply be the same. So you can select all those, but anyone who says, I want to pay monthly, that is going to be a bank draft for sure. Direct bill only, quarterly and annually. Okay, got hit with Irma back in summer 2024. I appealed and won. November 24 was hit again with Irma when they send in the COLA letter. Why? Don't they have previous appeal in their system? Well, you would think that, but we tell people just expect that if you're charged in Irma, just appeal again. You can use the same life-changing event for 2 appeals. Okay, so they looked at, for 2024, they looked at 2022, you appealed and won, and you got it again for 20, so they looked at 20, so you were still high income. So you should be able to use, hopefully, the life-changing event one more time and make that appeal. Yeah, I know there's two spots on the Irma form. They talk about 2 years, but I always tell people be ready to appeal each year when you have the appealable event and you get that Irma. So just do it again. That's all. Do it again. It's fine. All right, G plans include coverage for health emergency issues arising during foreign travel. Does this work the same across the world of providers? Yes. G does this, N does this. So here's the way it works. So you got to keep this in mind. Of course, Medicare pays nothing outside the U.S. or U.S. territories. So you have $50,000 of lifetime benefit that was added to your G policy. N policy, same way, $50,000. And so when you have a foreign travel claim that comes in, you have to pay a $250 deductible, and then they take the balance of the bills. And the insurance company pays 80% of the bill, you pay 20%. But remember, their 80% stops once they've paid in $50,000. Okay, that's it. And then that benefit does not replenish unless you get a new supplemental plan. And so it's a $50,000 lifetime benefit paid out after a small deductible, 80-20. SUP pays 80%, you pay 20. All right, let's keep going. I live in Oregon. My plan G, UHC went up this year, $32 per month. I've only been on Medicare 1 year. Do claims raise rates? Yes, they can. And I will tell you all, there's been a huge correction in the Medicare market across the board. Advantage plans changed, supplemental plans changed because of all the medical inflation. So I know it's disappointing. That is a hefty increase, but hopefully things will stabilize. That's all I can tell you. So you've been on Medicare 1 year. So what happened is there were more claims going out than premiums coming in, and that's why you saw that price increase. It wasn't because of age. It was just because of a group increase. And remember, with UNline Healthcare, you did lose that 3% enrollment discount as well. So it went up a little bit because of that. But the rest of it was group. Okay, can you shop your Medigap plan each year? Absolutely. You can call in, and if you're our client, we'll do that for you. We also have the website. We'll put that up real quickly here, Daniel, if you'll do that. This is a place you can go that is very user-friendly, very easy to use. We own this. It's called MedigapCompare.com. You can go in there and look at rates. You'll put in your birth date, your zip code, a little bit of information, very minimal, not even your name, and you'll be able to see everything that's going on in your market. Okay? Yeah, it'll walk you through everything. It's really an awesome tool. Take advantage of it. All right, I'm 64, participate in Christian Health Sharing. Can I stay on this when I turn 65? What kind of Medicare plan would be best? Well, let me say this. You can. I don't know what Christian Sharing group you're on, but I would tell you as a general rule, I would not do that. I would enroll in A and B, and the reason for that is because with the Christian Sharing, they're going to pay second to Medicare. And just so you know, I used to be a pastor. I pastored 20 years. And I was on a Christian Share group, so I'm pretty familiar with them. But what I do know about them is that their rates are usually not as stable as what Medicare supplemental rates are. I like them. I like the concept. I'm all for those. But I know now. Listen, I'm not quite 65. I will be in January, and I'm coming off of mine. Okay, I'm not going to be on. I'm on Samaritan Ministries, but I'm going to go on a regular Medicare supplemental plan because I have seen my rates on our plan more than double. here in the last few years. So they really have gone up. So I don't think you're going to have the stability of the rates with that Christian sharing ministry as you're going to be with the normal Medicare supplemental plan. Again, that's my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball, but it's not what I would do. You don't have a stable. Another thing you have to deal with, Michelle, is this. Once you've been on Medicare Part B for 6 months and you want to get off of it and, let's say, get a supplemental plan in the future, now you have to medically qualify because your Christian sharing co-op health plan is not credible coverage. It's not. So then you got a second problem, which to me would be a huge problem. So I can see no reason to do that. I know you're probably committed, to that kind of philosophy. Me too, but I don't think it's prudent financially. All right, let's keep going. What kind of questions are asked for underwriting? Oh, okay. Well, lots. There's a series of, usually 35 or 40 questions. But here's the way, since I don't have a lot of time, I boil it down this way. They're going to ask you questions about the major organs: heart, lung, liver, kidney. Heart, lung, liver, kidney. So heart attack, stent implants, strokes, mini strokes. Lung, COPD, emphysema, any kind of lung disease, liver disease, cirrhosis of the liver, hepatitis, heart, lung, liver, kidney, any kind of kidney disease, kidney stones. Those are painful, but you're not declined because of those. So again, just they're looking at the major donor, or major organs, and they're going to look at diabetes. Sometimes they'll take diabetes as long as it's just type 2 and your sugars are under control. But if you're type 1 and insulin dependent, a lot of companies will not take that. So again, that's a different status. If you have had cancer in the last 36 months, and then they'll decline you. You have to be cancer-free, treatment-free for at least 36 months. So those are your big things: heart, lung, liver, kidney, cancer, diabetes. And so there's other issues. You have Parkinson's, you're going to get declined. So anything that's going to be truly a major issue, or even a medication that you're taking that they're uncomfortable with, we see declines because of medications as well. All right, hope that helps. Let's keep. Hey, by the way, just call in too. And you know what? You can go to that Medigap Compare. They have a list of all those health questions on there. Okay, I've been with CHM for the last 5 years, starting Medicare A and B. 425, I stay with them as my supplement plan. Is there any underwriting if I start a G plan at a later date? Okay, if you stay with them, and I just addressed this, if you stay with them more than 6 months of your B date in order to get a G plan or an N plan, you have to medically qualify. CHM is not considered to be credible coverage. It just is not. And my experience has been, I'm telling you, I haven't found these Christian co-ops. I'm a Christian, and I love the philosophy, okay? But I'm telling you, I have not found these co-ops to be as stable as what the Medicare supplemental plans are. All right, let's keep going. This has been extremely helpful, very appreciated. Thank you. Well, Lisa, thank you for the encouragement. We love to do these and love to help people with their Medicare planning. So thank you for the encouragement. All right. All right. That sounds good. Okay, well, folks, thank you for attending. And again, we'll do this again next Thursday. Should be the same time. And if there's anything we can do in the meantime, reach out to us, please, and we will help you. We're brokers. We don't charge anything for our services. The insurance companies pay us, not you. And we'd be delighted to serve as your broker. Let us know if we can help. Thanks.